Hi, Ron Craig here again with another unique, handy, and helpful household hint. And this one has to do with my personal study desk, which I built myself. So let's look at it. Well, what makes this desk unique? Well, for one thing, I built it, and there's not another one like it anywhere else in the world because it's custom built. You see, I'm limited for space in this room, and so I needed a desk a certain size to put everything on it, but I also needed it to fit in the space that I had available for a desk. So I got online and looked and looked and looked. I never found one that had the right dimensions, so I decided to build one. Well, you can see I'm limited for space. I needed to have space for that light switch, and I needed my file cabinet. I needed another little rack space on the desk, and I needed my computer all-in-one on the desk, and I needed my printer, and I also needed a room space for the shredder and a bookcase going up to the other wall there. So I'm limited in space, and so I had to build one myself. And I did it like this. I did a lot of figuring, a lot of measuring and drawing, and I decided to build it out of one piece of 3/4 inch 4x8 sheet plywood, pine. Now there are different grades of pine. I didn't get the oak or the real expensive plywood, but there are different grades of pine, and I got the best, one 4x8 sheet, and I had some pieces left over after I made this. And I will show you how I put it together a little bit later, but right now I want to show you another thing that makes it unique is my little eagles that look like they're in mid-flight right there. So I have room for all my things. Sometimes I have books there when I'm studying and I need a space for a book to get it handily, and my computer things and my Bible over there, and a little rack box to put my billfold and other personal items in, and there's the lamp and so forth. Okay. I did not have a scroll saw whenever I built this, so these corners right here are square, and I would have rounded them had I had a scroll saw here and up here, but I didn't. So I cut it like that. I had a circular saw and a little hand saw, and so I would cut it so far with a circular saw and then finish that with a hand saw and then do a lot of sanding to smooth those edges. And since it's plywood, it had some raw edges. Now these at the bottom don't show, but these on the legs and the top would show, so I got some fancy screen door molding and put around all those outside edges, front, back, and ends, and on the legs and so forth. And I had a glass made to put down on it to protect the surface, and I had them to make a round corners the size of a dime. And then, of course, all the sharp edges rubbed off. And so that glass protects the wood and enables me to use this desk to the max. Now I will show you some of the framing, how I put it together in the next section. Now I didn't want to put this together with screws holding the pieces together from the outside, so I got on the inside and worked out a system where I could put it together from the inside and the screws wouldn't show. So here's a drawing. This is like the top with a little overhang, and this is like the leg that's coming down, and then here's a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch stick, I call it. I got about 3 8-foot pieces to do this desk because there's a lot of pieces under there holding it together. And then I put like one screw here into that side and then this screw into the top, and I alternated them back and forth. You'll see that when we get under there, and therefore this is about 1.25 inches screw, because this is 3/4 and 3/4 inch and a half. You don't want the screws to go all the way through, but you want them to sink in deep. So I got 1 1/4 inch, and that holds it good, and there are a lot of screws in there, so this thing is solid built. I'm underneath it now, showing you the framing, and you can see that 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch stick with a section connecting the front panel with one of the legs, and then the same across the top, connecting the leg to the top of the desk, and then down the back side, connecting the back panel with that leg. And then that brace goes all the way across, that reinforcement, all the way to the other end. And down the back, I have built a little shelf there on that end, connected to the back panel and that leg on that end, and I have the bracing underneath, and then of course across the top and the front as well. So a lot of screws alternated, and also put this thing together with glue, and I'll tell you more about that in the next section. Now you can also see a lot of wires under there, and if you have a desk, no matter the kind of desk, if you have equipment that's electrical and it has cords, you're going to have a lot of cables to tie up and pull out of your way so that you don't trip over them. But I have to tell you, there was a lot of work to this project. It's not a real big project, and again, I looked online for one. I couldn't find one, and they were not cheap. Even the ones that I found, and none of them were like I needed, the size I needed, and so forth. So anyway, we got this one done. After I got the pieces measured and cut, a lot of sanding, both on the edges and the surfaces. And then when we got it sanded good, we had to stain it with a nice stain, as you can see. And then I had to sand it again after the stain because it raises up some of the grain. Sand it down real smooth again, and then had to put polyurethane on it, and I think it has about a couple of coats of polyurethane on it. Okay, to put it together, I turn the top. Remember, these are in pieces now. I turn it upside down, and then I took like a chair, some kind of piece of furniture or boxes, and propped up one of the legs and put it in place. I measured it and put it in place with that little overhang and held it up, and I put glue on it. All these pieces are glued, both the plywood pieces and the 3/4 by 3/4 bracing. I put glue on all that and then put screws in them. So I got the two ends, and then after that it was a little easier to put the front panel and back panel up to it, glue it down in place, and then put the braces in there, and then of course the 3/4 inch pieces up and down each end, connecting the panels, back panel, front panel, with the legs on each side. And after that, it's pretty much done, except for putting that screen door molding around the edges and so forth. And then of course I got the glass later and put that on, and that sort of wraps up my unique project, my unique desk, because it's the only one of a kind. It is unique because there's no other one like it around the world. And I finally found these little eagles. I looked for a long time and found them on sale. So we got those glued on there, and that makes it look not so plain. And also the design, the measurements across there gives me space under there to put my chair with my legs, and I don't scrape. You know, it's not tight, and so it all came out real good, and I built it myself, and it's very unique because it's one of a kind, no other like it. But one thing I want to get across is it didn't take a lot of specialty tools. It doesn't take a lot of specialty skill. It does take a little time and effort and a little money and a few simple tools. And so you don't have to be a professional to get this done, but you can do it in your own time, and then you'll be proud of your own work that you did, which is unique. It'll be unique for you just like it was unique for me. Again, this is Ron Craig sharing with you one more unique, handy, and helpful household hint.